Hello, everybody. We are solidly into week 2 of our summer semester, a great time for a second course update video. Hopefully by now you sort of started to fall into the routine of the semester, which is every week the module opens. There's a variety of different learning materials spread across different formats. Work through that material as you encounter these participation opportunities, post your insights and experiences, and try to really synthesize that learning material into your observations. And then if there are any self-assessments, complete those self-assessments and keep moving on. And one of the weird things about this condensed summer format is as soon as we fall into a routine, the routine changes. And the first major jolt to that routine is going to be next week when we have kind of unbelievable, the midterm. The midterm is already coming up. And so we also have the leadership crisis plan due in about 8 or 10 days from now. And so what I wanted to do in this particular video is to spend a little bit of time sharing with you some different resources and some different tips to help you prepare for these assignments and to attack these assignments efficiently and successfully. And so what we'll do is we'll switch over to the course website view so I could show you where all of these different resources are housed so that when you are ready to attack these assignments, you know where that material is to help you along the way. So let's work through some important information related to upcoming assignments. First, a brief reminder, Module 2 closes this Sunday, May 31st. Next week, Exam 1 will open on Tuesday, and you have until Saturday, June 6th to complete the exam. And then the following Monday, June 8th, is when the Crisis Leadership Plan is due. Let's focus first on Exam 1. So everything you need to know about the exam is housed in this Exams and Exam Resources section of the course website. You can see here a folder for Exam 1 with some due date reminders. And within the folder, you can see 3 different resources. First, a general exam discussion board. If you have any questions about the exam format or questions about course material, please feel free to post them there. I'll moderate the board and respond promptly to any questions you may have. Your goal should be to use the discussion board to make sure any uncertainties are eliminated before you start the exam. So feel free to take advantage of this opportunity. Next, you'll see some details about the exam, and I'll quickly highlight just a few important ones. First, the exam is unproctored. There are 3 one-hour sections, and you will need to complete all 3 sections before the exam window closes on Saturday, June 6th. It's up to you to manage how you'll attack these sections. You might take them all at once, or you might spread them out, resting a day or so between each section. Whatever is most convenient for you. The only catch is that once you start a section, you must complete it in a single session. And each section is timed. You have 60 minutes to complete each section. The best way to attack the test is to study the questions posted at the end of each module. If you start the test with a firm understanding of these questions, you shouldn't see any major surprises. Generally, exam scores are fairly high. We can expect a lot of A's, but we can also expect a lot of variance. There are a few common reasons why people don't score well in the exam, and I want to discuss these quickly to help you avoid these pitfalls. First, some people get lured into a false sense of security because the exam is unproctored. They say, this will be easy. I'll start the test, read the first question, and then search through the material to learn the answer. Then I'll write my response and move on to question 2. If you approach the test this way, there's a very strong chance that you'll run out of time and not completely answer each question. I don't want you to feel rushed. If you know the material and are prepared to answer questions without referring to resources, you'll have no issues answering the questions within the time limit. But if you spend too much time searching through course material during the test, you might find yourself racing against the clock. Best advice here, don't start the test until you are fully prepared. Try to answer each question without referring to resources, and then, after you've completed all the questions, if you have extra time, feel free to check your work by consulting resources. On a related note, some people write too much. It is important to be comprehensive, but you want to avoid writing more than you need. Generally, you can answer each question in about 5 sentences or less. Usually, if students write more than 5 sentences, it's because they aren't fully grasping the question, so they're trying to just throw as much as they can into the response and hope something that they say is relevant. This is a risky strategy because it can be very time-consuming. Also, in terms of proving comprehension, I evaluate irrelevant information as a sign that you don't fully comprehend the material. So try to be concise with your responses. A final pitfall, Keep in mind that the test is not designed to assess your overall experiences or insights as a leader. It is specifically designed to evaluate your comprehension of the course material. So every question is designed to assess whether you understand a specific concept, theory, or principle. Some people attack the scenario-based questions with well-written intuitive responses, but don't make any attempt to synthesize course material into their responses. So the answer is sharp, but it doesn't prove to me that you've met the learning objectives. So when you attack a question, it might help to specifically ask yourself, why did Ryan write this question? What concept is he evaluating here? And how can I prove to him that I fully comprehend the concept? Oh, and it goes without saying, please don't plagiarize responses. Don't copy directly from assigned material, and don't copy from any external sources. Not only is it an academic integrity issue, but anybody can copy text without understanding it. So if you copy a response, you won't go far enough to convince me that you actually understand the words you've copied. Instead, synthesize information and put responses in your own words. Now, when the exam is open, you will be able to access the exams by clicking on this Exam 1 folder right here. Okay, let's look now at the crisis leadership paper. I think the purpose of this assignment should be obvious. What better time than now to critically evaluate how leaders effectively respond to crisis and develop a plan that could guide us even when we are faced with such a challenge. I'm way more interested in substance than style, so you won't see a lot of formatting guidelines here. More than anything, I hope you commit the effort to create a personally meaningful and valuable tool. I did put a minimum word count of 2,000. I hesitate to put a maximum word count because I think there will be a lot of variance in how people approach the document. But if you end up with less than 2,000 words, there's a good chance you haven't fully developed your plan. I expect to see 3 sections. In the first section, I'd like you to reflect on your current or future leadership roles. Think about the types of experiences you may find yourself in and verbalize this context. This section serves to ground the rest of the paper. The research and plan you create should be based on the context you describe. The purpose of section 2, the research section, is to challenge you to collect resources and nuggets of wisdom and to evaluate their validity and credibility. So if you think a particular communication style is effective for leading through a crisis, I want you to search for proof. Or if you have no idea what's effective, search for helpful resources to guide your development of a plan. Try to select resources that are credible. So think about the outlet. Think about the expertise of the authors, and think about the evidence that is grounding the information presented in the resource. I hope to share a compendium of resources with the class, so you may approach this section with the mindset, is this resource helpful to me, and would it be considered valuable to other MBA students completing this task? I'd like you to present your 3 favorite resources by summarizing them in your report. Resources could be videos, books, articles, interviews, whatever you find. There is one specific catch here. At least one resource should be an empirical investigation from a peer-reviewed academic research outlet. In other words, I want you to find a research article where the findings are based on collecting and analyzing evidence from real leaders in actual crisis situations, and where this evidence has been published in an outlet that is reviewed by leadership experts for quality. I've included some resources to help clarify what counts as an academic resource and a helpful walkthrough for finding and accessing good academic resources. If you don't have any experiences doing this type of research, you can find more information about this here at the bottom of the page. If you're struggling to grasp this task, or if you need help accessing scholarly research, don't be afraid to reach out for guidance. So in section 2, you summarize each of the 3 resources you found in terms of the knowledge they provide relating to leading during a crisis. I'd also like you to include information about how to access each resource. You might include a web link or a citation reference, or you might even include the full text of the resource in an appendix, whatever works for you. The final section is where we get down to business. Armed with the context described in section 1 and the research uncovered in section 2, I'd like you to create a plan of action. The plan should include general advice and principles. Think of these as the general do's and don'ts that you will adhere to during a crisis situation. I also want your plan to highlight specific actions and detailed steps you aim to take. Please try to be as thorough as possible here. The more you think critically through these issues, the more this assignment will be a valuable resource in your leadership development journey. Okay, final note here. When you are ready to submit, you can click the blue link up here. Then scan down to the assignment submission section and click this area here to browse your computer for your document file to upload. You'll find a full rubric at the top of this page. This here shows you the exact criteria I'll use when I grade your submissions and how each criterion is weighted. I would strongly recommend referring to this rubric as you put together your submission to make sure you don't miss any important elements. Okay, there you have it. Best of luck managing these upcoming activities. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, and have a great week.